Hi, this is Kev from Global Onslaught, and here in Kettering with a top-class guest, to be perfectly honest with you, and it was really good of him to be here with us. It's none other than Russ Russell, the magnificent one himself. How are you, Russ?
Very good, thank you. Good afternoon.
And good afternoon.
Pleasure to be here.
And it's good to be in a pub.
Yes.
It's not a strip bar, though. Well, the quick one for you. You have worked with the likes of Dimmer Begor, Evil, Neighbour Death, New Model Army, Sixth, The Wild Hearts. You're a guitarist. You started off as a drummer.
That's right.
And also, the Pièce La Resistance. You're an artist and graphic designer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trying.
Is that the bit you want to leave at the back? Is it kind of thing?
No, I need to do different stuff.
What, to keep you motivated?
Yeah, keep my mind whirring properly.
Yeah. Right, with the art of producing, you are the unsung heroes of the albums, aren't you? In my opinion. Is that right?
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. I think that's how it should be.
Do you think so? Do you think you should be given a bit more of a pat on the back and I'm this?
No, not. That's not why I do it. It's also the reason why. I don't know. Some producers get their sound.
Yeah.
You know, they've got a particular sound to everything they do.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't think I've got that. I kind of, if you listen to 5 albums I've done, they won't sound
similar.
Like somebody who didn't know that I'd done them probably wouldn't be able to tell.
Yeah. So you've got that cross-reference of like influences that go in and your mind, and you listen to an album or have the thoughts and then go through with it that way on an individual basis.
Yeah, and I think in some ways it's been to my detriment as far as career goes.
Yeah.
Because nobody can go, oh yeah, we want the Russ Russell sound.
Yeah.
Because they don't know exactly what that is.
Do you think they put that word in, the Russ Russell sound, but they just want Russ Russell because he does so well?
Well, yeah. Hopefully, I get a bit of that.
Yeah.
But the reason for that is because I don't want to be that producer where everyone goes, oh yeah, well that's blatantly a Russ Russell album.
Yeah.
I don't want people to listen to an album and tell that I've done it.
Yeah.
I want them to listen to the album and go, wow, what a fucking great band.
Yeah.
I want the focus to always be on the band.
And that's the pat on the back you get is when the reviews start coming in and it's 4 out of 5 stars, 5 stars.
That's
sufficient for you.
I don't mind being the unsung hero. The people who know. There's enough people that know. I do get enough pats on the back.
Yeah.
but I don't want me name in lights.
No, I respect that. It's just as a buyer, a CD buyer, vinyl buyer, hence the fairs. You like to look at who the producer is, and you tend to get a good grasp of what's gone on. And I suppose that's going back to the 70s and the 80s when I was a baby growing up, that kind of thing. How much influence, say for instance, a band comes into your studio's parlour and they're very tunnel visioned. How easily influenced are they? Do you have like a honeymoon period where you two get together?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. There is that there's always that first period where you're kind of getting to know each other and I'm sussing out.
Right.
You suss out the structure of the band. A band's always got a structure. There's always a leader. There's always the workers. There's always the followers. There's always those characters within a band.
Yeah.
And you spend the first little while getting to know who's who and what role they play in the band.
Yeah.
Particularly when it comes to songwriting.
Yeah.
Who's the songwriter? Is it one guy? Is it all his vision, or is it a group thing?
Yeah.
It's always a very different dynamic in a band in that way.
So I suppose the bloke who turns up at 9:30 instead of 10 and goes 6:30 instead of 6, that's the one you tend to be the focal point of the band.
Yeah. And because I do the same.
And that's a good thing, and that's you start easily to go on, don't you, kind of thing. Is it difficult to get through to some of the bands?
Some it is.
Yeah. I'm not going to ask you to name names or anything like that.
The more time goes on and the more you work together, the more they realise that my way is the right way.
Yeah. So it's the Jedi mind trick over a period of time.
No, but they realise that I'm not saying things for the sake of it. I'm not trying to stamp all over their music. I'm trying to give them the benefit of my experience.
Yeah. And that's what you're there for, isn't it?
And the more that time goes on, the more people realise that.
Yeah.
They realise that I'm not just trying to destroy their songs and turn it into something that I want.
Yeah. did you find that with the Evo lads? You started off first, then you got to the second one, and it was easy, and then it was just like going back to an old date.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, even during the first album, we all became very close.
Yeah.
And we'd had a very good pre-production session up in Huddersfield before anyway, so we kind of got to know each other.
Yeah.
And I'd seen the workings of how they play and how they work together.
Yeah.
So when we got in the studio, it was quite natural even to begin with. But certainly, you know, when they came back for the second album, it was so easy. It was
a pleasure.
Yeah.
It's not like pulling teeth.
Well, they knew what I expected, and I knew what I was going to get from them. So it was very easy.
So it's a good work ethic. They know where you're coming from. You know where they've got to go, and it's just a matter of compromise.
And after a while, you almost become sort of telepathic. You know, something will happen, and you don't really need to talk about it. Everyone just knows. What needs to happen next.
I have that same problem when the wife wants more money. I know when she wants more money because she just gives me the look. You know what I mean? The ups and the lows of your job. Now, as me as the outside world, the ups are you're working with bands, you're doing the things you love, you've got a passion, you're your own boss, you're doing what you can. The downs, people don't hear about and see the downs. What are them?
Oh, the hours to start with. I mean, when I started out, it wasn't a problem. You know, when you're in your 20s, you can work 20 hours a day, and you can go all night and see the sunrise, and you know it's not a problem. But you know, when you hit 40, it's not so easy anymore.
I know what you mean there, mate. It's a little bit different.
But I still have to do it from time to time.
Is this something that you're going to stay in this country doing, or have you ever thoughts of relocating abroad?
I have considered it many times, and I do work abroad quite a bit, and I was out in Brazil earlier this year working out there, which was fantastic.
Who was that with?
A band called Claustrophobia.
Right.
Really cool Brazilian thrash band.
Right. And when's their album due?
Well, we haven't mixed it yet. We recorded it earlier in the year, but we're waiting for the business side of it to get sorted out.
Does that drag along a bit too slow than what you think?
Sometimes it does, more and more so recently. So you know, a lot of albums, especially with bands sort of who are trying to establish some kind of industry deal. A lot of the time these days bands will find their own funding and make the album first rather than wait for a label to come along, which is the right way to do it now.
You've got to save the pennies, haven't you?
Yeah, and you've got to put the effort in beforehand and show that you're really in it properly. I mean, if you get your finances sorted and you pull your money together yourself, then a label will look at you and go, oh, well, they actually are really serious about this.
They've got a bit behind them, they want to do it, and they've got the enthusiasm.
So these days, a lot of bands, they're finding the money, we make the album, and then they have to sort out the business side of it, and sometimes it can take a year, 18 months.
And I think that's where some of the major bands in the past, when it gets to the business side and the money side, that's when they get turned over, isn't it? Because all they understand is a six string and the drums. They don't understand percentages, finance, and this, and that's where it becomes a big deal, isn't it? So your advice to anybody who's got a band, they're serious musicians, basically get the funding together, start yourself, Facebook, Twitter, them kind of things, your own publicity, and at that point when you're serious, then go and start hitting the record labels.
Once you've got something that shows that you're serious, you've almost got to have the product and the whole package, the whole everything, promotion all sorted, and then say, right, who's going to play ball with us?
So, I mean, at the moment, there's something called wrong stock. What is wrong stock?
Well, it came about because there was a gig.
That isn't us, by the way. You're killing that child. It's a cat walking past. So, wrong stock. I mean, I've seen the advertisements on Facebook and this, that, and the other, and they're all bands that you produced.
Yeah, there was a gig at the Purple Turtle. It must have been about 18 months ago, something like that. And just by accident, just by sheer coincidence, every band bar one on the bill I'd worked with, and I happened to be there because my son's band were playing.
And who's that?
His band were called A Farewell to Tyrants, kind of prog metal stuff. Very cool. And the promoter there, Patrice, she said, "Oh, wouldn't it be good to do like an all-dayer of just bands that you work with? That'd be a really good lineup." So we thought about it for a while, and she said, "Yeah, I really want to do it." So, okay. So I gave her just a huge list of bands that I'd worked with that are still, performing, whatever. And she picked the bands. She got in touch with them. She sorted it all out. I mean, I've done absolutely bugger all really for her.
That's what type of work.
She's amazing. She really is. And but then we came to the name, because she kept calling it Russ Fest, and I said, "You can't call it Russ Fest. That's rubbish." And she said, "Well, what else are you going to call it?" She said, "It's a festival of Russ bands. It's got to be called Russ Fest." I said, "You can't call it that." I said, "People who know me will laugh, but anyone else will just think I'm a complete egotistical wanker." Which might be true, but that's not the point. So I said, no, we've got to come up with a better name. And we toed and froed, we came up with about 100 names. And kept no. And then she said, "Wrong stock, because they're all wrong uns." I said, "That's the one."
I mean, it's good. When we're looking at September time,
September 20th
in Camden.
Yeah,
in Camden.
Yeah.
And so people can go onto your Facebook page, bits and pieces like that, or just Google it and find out what the score is.
Wrong stock at the Underworld in Camden, September 20th. 10 bands for £10.
10 bands, 10 quid.
Yeah.
Shit, that's hard.
That's if you buy in advance. It's going to be 15 quid on the door.
Even 20 quid would be cheap, isn't it? It's a good time, right, for any music lover. And live music, in my opinion, for who I am, which is a nobody, is losing its way. It's losing its way. We see how many pubs closed down, how many open mics nights closed down, this, that. The only people seem to be surviving is the boys at the top, or going to the festival, or having a large bill where there's a main headliner, 4 on the thing. That's the only way they're getting their name out there.
But that's kind of why we thought this would work, because it's not even a case of having a headliner and support bands. Every band on that bill is totally valid in their own right. It's going to be quality right from the first band till the last band.
That's what you want to hear, and that kind of thing. I mean, at the moment in time, I think it's very difficult for any band, and they've got to get the merchandise on the go, and another big one that's coming around is meet and greets. They're big business. The Sabbath ones, I'm not going to mention the number, but it was a big one for the Hyde one for a meet and greet, and that's great. But it's a lot of money, people, in the way the society is nowadays. But it is what it is. Right, we come to the most important part of the interview. Right, it's a bit of a quick-fire question round. That questions have been sent. Don't get looking at them first. You're not having a sniff, you are. These are questions that have been sent in to Adam, who's the gaffer at Global Onslaught. Right, it's a quick-fire round, so I'll ask these questions. Right, first of all, Sabbath or Zeppelin?
Sabbath.
Randy Rhoads, Zakk Wylde?
Randy Rhoads.
Down, Pantera?
Pantera.
Whiskey or beer?
Both.
As much as fucking possible. Paul Diano, Bruce Dickinson?
Bruce Dickinson.
Vinyl, CD?
Ooh, blimey. Oh,
I got you. I didn't think I'd get...
Well,
the mogul himself has been stumped.
Well, I mean, vinyl, I'd say.
Yeah.
If you'd have said vinyl or MP3, then that would have been easy.
Yeah.
But CD was a very valid format that was...
stood the test of time as well.
Yeah. It enabled me to compact my music collection into some kind of storable form.
You're talking into CD now, aren't you? You're talking yourself.
But vinyl, I mean, for the sake of having it in your hands, especially the artwork and the cover, being able to sit down, the whole joy of vinyl as a kid for me was buying it. You'd put it on, and hopefully the artwork and the information on the album would be enough for you to be engrossed in that while you listened.
And the value for money.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
artwork looks great. Yeah. Hopefully you get a gatefold.
Yeah. Hopefully you get that coloured vinyl.
Yeah.
Well, I used to fuck mine up by pulling them backwards to see if their messages were to Kev. And the twat would have to go and buy another one. So we're saying vinyl or CD?
I think vinyl.
Vinyl, that's great. Punk or metal? No, I know your influences.
Well, that is hard. Yeah. That's got to be both.
It's got to be. I can't
be both.
I can't not agree with you on that one. It's good in its own right, and it's awesome to all of us. Russ, it's come to the end. I thank you for your time. I thank you for giving us such good music, and we hope to see lots and lots of you in the future.
Well, thank you very much. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Not a problem. This is Kev from Global Onslaught in the pub with Russ, and we're going to go get shit-faced. Ta-da!
Ta-da!